Mr. and Mrs. Luce have 7 daughters. Each daughter has 1 brother. Can you tell how many people there are in the family? The correct answer is 10. Mr. Luce, Mrs. Luce, 7 daughters, and 1 brother. Dr. Luce is a world-famous chemist.
Wow.
He has just arrived in London to attend an international science seminar. The next morning, the lab cleaner found Dr. Luce unconscious on the floor. One of the 6 lab assistants poisoned the chemist. The names of the 6 assistants are Austin, William, Oscar, Leo, DJ, and Robert. To solve this case, lab managers called the local detective, Mr. Smith. Dr. Luce left this mysterious note on the table. Here's what he wrote: 76, 20, 44, 79, 16, 22, 7. After reading the note, Mr. Smith asked the police to arrest 2 criminals. Who are the criminals? Oscar and Dustin. Remember that Dr. Luce is a chemist? He encrypted the names of his enemies using the periodic table hanging on the wall. Dr. Luce got better and returned to his work in the lab. He invited a young scientist, Oscar, for a job interview. His resume was too good to be true, so Dr. Luce decided to check Oscar's logical thinking. He offered Oscar to solve this number puzzle. Oscar cracked this task right away. What about you? Here's a little hint. You should read this puzzle from left to right and from top to bottom. Question 1. What are the next 2 rows of numbers? And question 2. Why? Here's the correct answer. Line 3 represents 2 1s. Line 4 then becomes 1 2 and 1 1. Line 5, therefore, is 1 1, 1 2, and 2 1s. Using the same logic, we can now decode line 6, 3 1s, 2 2s, and 1 1. Line 7 is 1 3, 1 1, 2 2s, and 2 1s. Dr. Luce hired Oscar and took him to the basement of the lab, but someone has changed the password on the door. Can you help the guys guess the code? This rebus is a hint. The correct password is summary. Dr. Luce offered one more riddle to his new employee.
How can a man go 8 days without sleep?
Can you help Oscar crack this one? The correct answer is easily, because people sleep at night. In the basement, Dr. Luce found out that someone had stolen his latest innovation, a superhero costume.
Oh no!
He had questioned 3 suspects. Jack, the cleaner, said,
I've been cleaning the floor in the hallway all morning. I haven't entered your office yet.
Peter, the lab assistant, said, I was working on my own project, and besides, I don't have a key to your private office. And Dr. Luce's wife, Helen, said, You never tell me anything about your work. How would I know what to steal? Dr. Luce took fingerprints from the closet where the costume was. But he found only his own fingerprints. Who stole the costume? It was Helen. She's the only one who's wearing gloves.
Oh.
After a short interrogation, Helen confessed that she had sold the costume to Dr. Luce's major enemy, Dr. Phillips. Dr. Luce went to his lab to take his invention back. A creepy guard stopped Dr. Luce at the entrance and asked for a password. Can you help Dr. Luce find out the code? See the sign on the wall? You should rearrange these letters to spell just a single word. So, the correct password is a single word. Dr. Luce entered the building and found himself in a strange place guarded by 2 people. One of the guards always says the truth, while the other one always lies. Dr. Luce doesn't know who is who. He can only ask one question to escape. What should he ask? If he asks the guard who always tells the truth, he would tell that the other guard would point to the dangerous door. And if he asks the guard who always lies, he would tell the opposite door of the truth-telling guard and point to the dangerous door. In either case, both guards will point to the dangerous door, and then Dr. Luce should just choose the other door. Dr. Luce entered the room and saw this group of scientists. Can you spot anything weird in this picture? The scientists are holding 4 slices of pizza in their hands, but only 3 pieces are missing from the pizza box. Dr. Luce entered Dr. Phillips's office. The room was empty. Can you help him find anything suspicious? Someone is hiding in the ceiling vent. Suddenly, Dr. Luce saw Dr. Phillips flying around in the superhero costume. He grabbed Dr. Luce, took him to the top of a mountain, and left him there alone. Dr. Luce wandered around and found 3 tunnels. There's an angry, hungry lion in the first tunnel. There's a huge fire in the second tunnel. And the third tunnel leads through a dinosaur lair. Which way should Dr. Luce choose? The third one. Dinosaurs became extinct millions of years ago. Dr. Luce came to a village and asked the local farmer, Rick, for a glass of water. Rick told him that he'd been struggling to divide his entire land between his 2 sons. Both of the sons have been very good to him. And now, Rick's only wish is to treat his sons fairly and divide his land equally between them. But the problem is that the land has a weird shape, and thus, there's no way to split it into 2 equal halves. Dr. Luce said,
I have an idea. It can guarantee that the land will be divided in a manner that will satisfy both sons.
Can you guess what's on his mind? All Rick needs to do is ask one of his sons to divide the land into 2 parts and tell him that the other son will have the choice of selecting one of those 2 halves. In this manner, both of them will avoid any tricks and divide the land equally. Dr. Luce was sitting at the local restaurant. He was sad because he'd lost his wallet during his adventures. He noticed a man next to him pulling a wad of $100 notes out of his pocket. Dr. Luce turned to the rich guy and said,
Hey, I have an amazing talent. I know almost every song that has ever existed.
The rich guy laughed. Dr. Luce then said,
I'm willing to bet you all the money you have in your wallet that I can sing a genuine song with a lady's name of your choice in it.
The rich man laughed again and said, Okay, how about my wife's name? Helga, Fiona, Mary, Rose, Holmes. This evening, the rich man went home poor, and Dr. Luce went home rich. What song did he sing? The Happy Birthday Song. The villagers told Dr. Luce mystical legends about the local forest. He liked creepy stories and decided to go there and see it for himself. He set off at night and soon got to the forest. He noticed a small shop nearby. The seller said, Hey bro, don't go to this forest unequipped. Take this magic potion. It will make any creepy monster fall asleep for 10 hours. Dr. Luce took 1 bottle and continued the journey. He wandered there for several hours, but he didn't see anything mysterious. Dr. Luce was about to leave right before dawn. Someone appeared in front of him. A pair of vampires that feed on humans and a siren who hunts people using her singing. So there are 3 enemies, but Dr. Luce has only 1 potion. What should he do? The sun will rise in a few seconds, and vampires will run away. That's why he should pour the potion at the siren. Dr. Luce found an abandoned castle. As soon as he entered, someone locked the door. Dr. Luce found 3 ways out, but all of them were dangerous. The first path was full of hungry wolves. It was impossible to get through. The second passage was guarded by 5 vacuum cleaner robots that were reprogrammed to hunt down humans. And the third passage was filled with molten lava. What door should he choose? The second one. The vacuum cleaners might go after him, but they're pretty harmless. Finally, Dr. Luce returned to his hometown. He's also a college teacher. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough time to prepare for the upcoming class. Therefore, he offered the students this tricky lesson. There was no homework, assignments, or tests, but there was a final test that would have only one question on it. When everyone received the test, it was a blank sheet of paper with a question on it. What is risk? Most students managed to give their answers, but only one student deserved the highest grade.
Yes!
That's weird because he only wrote down one word. What did he write? His reply was this. Dr. Luce went on a business trip to Vienna. He felt very nervous because he was about to meet a lady he used to date in college, Jane. She's also a scientist who's currently working on immortality pills. That's why she asked Dr. Luce to come over and help her. As soon as he entered her office, he knew that something had gone wrong. 3 zombies were standing in the room. Can you tell which one is his ex-girlfriend? Take a look at Dr. Luce's hand. He has a tattoo, T plus J. So his girlfriend is the second zombie because she has a tag on her foot that says Jane. After lunch, Mike headed for the next room, but before the guy got inside, he had to solve a riddle to open the door. Some will use me, others will not. Some remember me, others forget. I can't be picked up off the ground or tossed into the sea. You can only gain me with time. What am I? The correct answer is knowledge. Mike entered a beautiful party hall filled with people in costumes and masks. The voice told Mike to go find one ghost, one zombie, and one thief among these people. Look at this crowd very attentively. Can you see them? The guy over there doesn't seem to have legs, and he's levitating. He must be a ghost. Look at this woman's food. Only zombies would eat that. And the woman over there is the thief. Her diamond ring doesn't fit her finger. Also, the ring is very similar to this lady's jewelry set. Mike tried to open the next door and receive a new question immediately. I look flat, but I'm deep. Hidden realms I shelter. Lives I take, but food I offer. At times, I am beautiful. I can be calm, angry, and turbulent. I have no heart, but I offer pleasure and freedom. No man can own me, yet I encompass what all men must have. What am I? Mike solved this riddle and entered the next room. Have you figured out the answer too? The correct answer is, I'm the ocean. Mike saw the next door, but whatever he did, he couldn't open it. He spotted an electronic lock on the door and a map of a maze on the wall. The voice said that Mike must solve the riddle to open the door. Can you help? If you go through the maze from start to finish, you'll get 6251. This is the code. When Mike finally entered the room, he saw a locked safe. The voice said that Mike's task was to open the safe. What buttons should he press? The puzzles present 3 colors: pink, white, and brown. Mike pressed the correct buttons and unlocked the safe, but he only found one small coin inside. The next room was empty, except for an old vending machine in the corner. Mike came closer and noticed a small key inside the machine. Suddenly, the walls began to move. The room was getting smaller and smaller. The voice told Mike to be careful because the vending machine was broken. Some wires were torn and mixed up. Which button should Mike press to get the key out and get out of the room before it's too late? Mike should use the coin from the previous challenge and press the fourth button. Then the voice asked Mike to find the odd image in this pattern. Can you help the guy? The couple over there is different. In another room, Mike met a nice elderly lady, Miss Jason. She was very upset because someone had broken into her apartment. Mike's task was to find the robber. He inspected the crime scene and questioned 3 witnesses. The cleaning lady, Sarah, said that she'd finished her work at 11 p.m. and left. Billy, a passerby, said that he'd seen a suspicious man in a mask in Miss Jason's window. Kelly, the neighbor, was visiting her boyfriend in another city. Who's lying? Billy. He's a passerby and just met Miss Jason. Then how come he knows which window is hers? It got very dark outside, but Mike's weird quest continued. He entered a jewelry store and its owner explained the guy his next task. Someone had broken into the store and taken the most expensive diamond jewelry. But luckily, the robber left their fingerprints on the shards of broken glass. There are 3 suspects: a werewolf, an elf, and a zombie. Can you help Mike find the real robber? It was the elf. He's the only creature among them with human-like fingerprints. Another door led Mike into a creepy lab. There, he saw a mad scientist playing a strange game with his patients. He asked them to choose between 2 pills. One of them was a harmless capsule with vitamins, while the other one was a sleeping pill. Somehow, the scientist managed to get the harmless pill every time he played this game, and his opponents always fell asleep. How was this possible? And what should Mike do to pass this test? Both pills were actually harmless. The scientist added a special substance to the glasses of water he offered his patients to wash down the pills. So, to stay awake, Mike should switch the glasses or simply refuse to drink any water.
Here we go. Stella is a cleaning lady in a 3-story business center. Late in the evening, she finishes cleaning the big boss's office. Stella is the last person in the entire building, so she locks the doors and goes home. The next morning, the boss calls her and yells, "Someone wrote scammer on the wall near his desk with blue paint." The boss questions 3 suspects. The guard said, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I left earlier and asked Stella to lock all the doors with her keys." The manager says, "This paint was supposed to be used for the basement. I guess someone had stolen the paint from the storage room. As for me, I've spent the evening with my family, and they can confirm my words." And the local interior decorator says, "Yesterday, I was working from home." So, who's guilty? The guard. Take a look at his shoes. He left some footprints on the floor, and they look identical to the paint footprints left in the boss's office. Kyle and Amy are having dinner at a restaurant. Can you spot what's wrong here? She has 2 forks. You're in a land where 30 men and 2 women are dressed in conservative black and white outfits. They begin to fight as soon as any of them moves. Can you guess where you are? You're on a chessboard. Welcome to the food market. There's a zombie hiding somewhere here. Can you see him? Over here. Can you help the police spot a bank robber in this amusement park? Hello. Let's take a look at all of these emojis. Can you find any food? There's shrimp over here. What about this collection? Can you see anything edible? There are two options, actually. Let's go ahead and see if you can find a building among these emojis. There it is. Next set. Can you see a human among these emojis? Hello. I bet you can find a body part in this variety. This nose over here. Can you see any flowers among all these emojis? There are two flowers actually, here and here. Can you spot what's wrong here? The reflection doesn't match reality. Can you see anything odd here? This lady doesn't have any reflection. Wicked witch kidnaps young women in the town. The police had been tracking her for 6 months, and finally, they detected her hideout uptown. They break in and find 3 young ladies with their hands tied. The police questions all women. Sally says, "I've been here for a month or so. I'm so glad you found us." Bella says, "This witch only gave us some bread. We were starving." And Rosie says, "I've spent a month in the darkness. I thought I'd never see the daylight again." The police know at once that one of them is the witch. Can you guess who? Sally. If she had been there for a month, her nails would grow and the nail polish would peel. George works in a museum as an appraisal expert. One day, a stranger brings him 3 antique Japanese vases. He says, "They're precious. These vases were passed down in my family from generation to generation. They're worth millions, but I would like to sell them to your museum at a huge discount so that everyone can admire them." George examines the vases and finds out that only one of them isn't fake. Can you guess which one? The first piece looks pretty ancient, but why would an ancient Japanese vase have English letters as part of its decoration? The third vase depicts an elegant lady in a traditional costume who's holding a smartphone? Therefore, only the second vase is original. Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any gadgets? There are 2 options, actually. Can you find a body part in this variety? This palm over here. Let's go ahead and see if you can find a building among these emojis. There it is. Next set. Can you see any animals among these emojis? There are 3 animals here. Can you find any plants among all these emojis? Hello! A powerful wizard kidnaps Kyle's wife. There are 3 tunnels leading to the dungeon where she's imprisoned. A mother bear is cuddling her cubs inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with hungry wolves who haven't been eating for a year. And a fire-breathing dragon is sleeping inside the third tunnel. It can wake up at any moment and burn anyone who dares to enter. Which way is more or less safe? The second path is the safest. Wolves won't survive without food for so long, which means they're not dangerous or breathing. Let's go ahead and see if you can find an outfit among these emojis. It's over here. Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any money? Ka-ching! Can you find a shoe in this set? There it is! Next set. Can you see any desserts among these emojis? Piece of cake! Literally. Ms. Smith is a rich old lady. Today she's furious because she's found out that her son is having a secret relationship with one of her staff members. 3 women are working in Ms. Smith's mansion. The house cleaner, who has just married their driver, they have a huge debt. The babysitter, who's very poor and brings up 5 siblings. And the gardener, who is a university student. She's not very serious and loves partying. Can you guess who's the secret girlfriend? It's the babysitter. Where did she get money for this jewelry? Billy has lost his cat. Can you help him find it? It's hiding behind this lady. Alex wakes up in a creepy quest room. There are 3 doors, but touching their doorknobs is unsafe. The first one is under high voltage, fatal to humans. The second one is red-hot iron that will burn your hand. And the third one is covered with poison, which is fatal for all beings when injected. Which doorknob should Alex turn to escape? The third one. The poison is only dangerous when injected. Paul leaves his workplace to wash his hands before lunch. He returns to his desk and finds out that someone had eaten his turkey sandwich. Paul checks the crime scene and questions 3 suspects among his co-workers. Mary says, "I've been talking to the manager in his office when the robbery was taking place." Liam says, "I don't need your sandwich, bro. I'm a vegetarian." And Wendy says, "I've been having a conference call in the lobby. I wasn't looking at your desk." Who's lying? Liam. There's a sandwich on his desk. Take a closer look at the package. It says chicken. Therefore, he's not a vegetarian. Can you find any fish among all these emojis? Hello! Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any money? Jackpot! Emma takes part in a beauty pageant. She arrives at the auditorium early, gets ready, and has lunch at the local cafeteria because she hasn't been eating or drinking all day. Before going to the stage, Emma faints.
Oh, no.
The doctors find out that someone had poisoned her. The police check all food and drinks at the cafeteria and find no poison. They interrogate 4 witnesses. The cook says, "I only served allergy-friendly snacks and drinks." The contest manager says all the models had been eating and drinking the same food, but Emma was the only one who got poisoned. She must have eaten something wrong at home. The rival beauty pageant contestant says, "I've done all the preparations at home, so I've just arrived." And the makeup artist says, "I was too busy with my duties, so I haven't even entered the cafeteria." Can you guess who poisoned Emma? The makeup artist. Lipstick was the only thing that touched Emma's mouth that day, apart from the cafeteria food.
Tom bought a sandwich, left it on a table, and went to the bathroom to wash his hands. When he came back, he saw 3 people standing by his table, and the sandwich was gone. Can you guess who ate Tom's food? This guy over there. He left some crumbs. Tom decided to take a bus to get to the lab in time, but as soon as he took a seat, Tom noticed a vampire among the passengers. Can you see the vampire too? This woman over there. She's wearing an oversized hoodie to hide her sensitive skin from sunlight. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's a vampire, but the absence of any shadow is 100% proof. When Tom tried to pay for his bus ticket, he realized he had left his wallet at the coffee shop. Luckily, the driver said, "I won't call the police if you can solve my riddle." Tom agreed to this deal and listened to the riddle attentively. I make loud sounds when I change. After I change, I get bigger, but way less. What am I? Have you guessed? It's popcorn. Tom came back to the coffee shop to get his wallet back. Josh, the barista, claimed that he hadn't seen any wallets. Shelley, the owner, said that she had recently seen a suspicious customer with 2 wallets. And Bill, the customer with 2 wallets, said that the second wallet belonged to his wife. Who's lying? The barista. Take a look at his feet. He's standing on Tom's wallet. Shelley and Josh didn't want to involve the police, and Tom suggested playing a game. He told the barista, "I won't call the police if you solve my riddle. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What is it?" Unfortunately, the barista couldn't figure out the right answer and went to jail. The correct answer is footsteps. Tom was running out of time and decided to get to the lab by taxi. But his application went crazy and sent Tom this weird maze. The instructions said, if you want to know the numbers on the license plate of your taxi, solve this riddle. Can you help Tom? If we go through this maze from start to finish, we'll get to 517. Tom found his taxi and hit the road. The driver stopped in the middle of nowhere and took out a weird gadget. He opened a portal that transported Tom to the top of a mountain. There, he met his own evil twin from a parallel universe, and this twin wanted the box. Tom started running and fell into an ice cave with 3 tunnels. There was a hungry cougar inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel was full of bats that fed on human blood. And a dozen evil wizards were waiting for Tom inside the third tunnel. Which way should he choose? The second one. The bats are sleeping because it's daytime. Tom reached a little village in the woods and hid in a cabin. But then, he noticed something very creepy and ran away from that village immediately. What did he see? This glove over there is not actually a glove. This cabin probably belongs to zombies, not people. Tom found some road, stopped a truck, and asked the driver to take him to the nearest airport. But the man asked Tom to solve a riddle first. I am known to bring bad luck when you see me in the dark, but I don't like the rain. But one thing's for sure, you won't hear me bark. What am I? What should Tom answer to get a ride? A black cat. At the airport, Tom tried to buy a plane ticket back to New York, but he didn't have any money. Suddenly, Lily, a famous blogger and influencer, invited Tom into the business class lounge. She was celebrating her birthday with her friends. Unfortunately, their magic knife could only make 3 cuts. They couldn't figure out how to split the cake into 8 pieces. Can you? First, they should cut the cake in half. Then they can make another cut so that there are 4 equal pieces. Now they need to cut the cake sideways through the middle so that it has 2 layers. Now everybody has a piece except for Tom. But Lily gave him a more generous gift. She bought the guy a ticket to New York. Finally, Tom brought the mysterious box to the abandoned lab. He noticed a metal door and tried to open it. But the door was locked. A red sign appeared on a little screen next to the door. It asked for a password. There was a hint on the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you help Tom crack the code? There are 17 spaces. After reading the number out loud, you'll get it. Type number 2, then number 4 3 times, number 6 5 times, and after that, 7 eighths. Voila! The light changed to green, and Tom entered the room.
Right before a restaurant was about to open, someone stole all the money from the office. A detective arrived for interrogation. A cook said that he was working hard and didn't have time to walk or gaze around, so he didn't see anything. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't steal anything. The waiter said he remembered seeing one visitor heading to the office. Somehow he ignored it and didn't stop them. The waiter got arrested for stealing the money. Why? The restaurant was yet closed, and there couldn't be any visitors. Kennedy woke up in some dungeon. She tried to escape, but the door was locked. All of a sudden, a clock appeared and started ticking. It said that there would be an explosion in half a minute if she didn't crack the code. It was just one number, but the trick was that Kennedy only had 2 attempts. Luckily, there was a hint. Kennedy tried 60, but it didn't work. What must be her second guess? Remember the clock? When an hour hand points at 1, it means 5 minutes. When it points at 2, 10 minutes, and so on. So 12 equals 0. One rainy evening, Poppy drove to her boyfriend's neighborhood to return his hoodie. She walked in the house for a couple of minutes and forgot to lock the car. When she returned, she called the police because her laptop had been stolen from the back seat. The detective said that the girl had lied. Why? Poppy has a 2-door car. There's no back seat in her automobile. Ms. Brown, Miss White, and Mr. Green are best friends who met up at a restaurant to celebrate their college graduation. Ms. White suddenly noticed one fun fact and said, "Look, we're all wearing our colors, but no one wears their color." "Yeah, Virginia White, you're right," responded the girl in a green dress. "Can you tell who is who?" So, Miss White can only be wearing a green or a brown dress. Since a girl in a green dress responded to her, Virginia White is wearing a brown dress. This leaves us with the fact that the girl in the green dress must be Miss Brown, and the girl in the white dress must be Miss Green. Madeline wanted to make her dad the best present for his birthday. The problem was that she had 0 ideas. She decided to sneak into her dad's computer and see what he has saved in his online shopping cart. The computer required a password, and Madeline didn't know it. Can you help her figure it out? Look at the desk. There's a note, and it has quite a lot of typos. It could be done on purpose. Find every typo and put them together. O in laundry, extra L in school, I in clean, C in basement, and V in answer. So the password is OLICV. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's IDs and to not let any suspicious people in. Take a look at these 3 ID cards and figure out who wasn't supposed to enter the club. So, here's the first one. She seems fine, let her in. What do you say about this girl? Don't let her in. The month and date are flipped. She must have a fake ID. Bye, girl. Okay, next. Look, in or out? Look, the guy in the photo has a tattoo on his neck, but in reality, he doesn't have one. That's suspicious. Don't let him in. Okay, here's the next guest. He seems fine to me. And this girl? She seems alright. Green light. Okay, another one. In or out? Look, there's a typo in birth. Official documents don't have any typos, so this ID must be fake. I wouldn't let her in. Melody and Belle are sisters. Melody has cool clothes, and Belle always borrows something from her without permission. One day, Melody was going to a party and couldn't find her favorite top. She knocked on her sister's door. Belle opened the door, but saw it was her sister and shut it. In a couple of seconds, Melody broke into the room and started searching for the top. But she didn't find it anywhere and had to leave. On her way out, she remembered something and managed to find it. Where? Melody remembered that when Belle opened the door, she had her hoodie unzipped. After she shut the door, Belle zipped it. She was wearing the top. Atlas was wandering in a forest and came across a huge mansion. He walked in, and the doors behind him got locked. There were 3 ways out. Behind the first door, there was a room with poisonous gas that made your skin melt. Behind the second door, there was a hungry wolf. Behind the third door, there was a window, but there was no ladder. How can Atlas escape safely? He should pick the third door. He just walked in, so he's on the first floor. He won't need a ladder to get out of the window safely. Mr. Mason didn't really like a huge tree growing by his neighbor's house because it hid the sun. He was super happy when the tree was no more one day after a raging storm at night. Still, his neighbor called the police and reported Mr. Mason for cutting the tree on purpose. Mr. Mason denied doing it. Who is right? If it were the storm that broke the tree, the cut would be messy, but the tree is perfectly sawn off, so it's some person's work. Maybe not Mr. Mason, but definitely not the storm.
There was an incident in a secret laboratory. One of the scientists released a substance that turned people into vampires. Detective Reed arrived at the scene to interview 3 witnesses. The first scientist, Michael, said, "I stopped by the lab this morning to pick up some notes. The machines were working just fine, and I didn't see anyone. I took the papers and left." The second scientist, Lindsay, said, "I closed the lab at night. One of the PCs was faulty, but I was very tired and decided to leave it till the morning. Unfortunately, I overslept." And the third scientist, Jennifer, said, "I got up early and went to the lab to check the devices. No one seems to have entered the room. I fixed one of the computers and left." Which one of them was lying? Michael is lying. One of the computers was actually faulty, and Jennifer spent the whole morning fixing it. If Michael had walked into the lab, he would have known about it, or Jennifer would have noticed him. So he must have entered the lab after the others had already left. But why would someone release such a dangerous substance? Michael didn't want to confess, so Detective Reed decided to investigate the crime scene to find out who was behind this. Take a look at this picture. Is there anything suspicious? It looks like Michael dropped an ID card. And look, it doesn't belong to him. The name on the card is George Wilson. Let's ask him about the incident. Detective Reed went to Mr. Wilson's office to ask him about the incident.
"Oh yeah, I gave my pass to Michael," Mr. Wilson said. "But that's only because I had left something in the lab. My glasses. I didn't have time, so I asked Michael to pick them up."
Well, that's not a very clever excuse, but how can you prove the man is lying? There's an open glasses case on the table, and the glasses are inside. But Mr. Wilson, didn't you say that you left them in the lab?
"Oh, did I say my glasses? Sorry, I meant my papers. I made this mistake because I asked my secretary Shirley to look for my glasses yesterday."
Find something to prove Mr. Wilson is lying. There's a calendar on Shirley's desk. Yesterday was her day off. It's marked red. Mr. Wilson is lying. Mr. Wilson was arrested, but people have already begun to turn into vampires. Can you guess who's actually a vampire? The woman on the right. She's putting on her makeup, but do you see? She isn't reflected in the mirror. Meanwhile, those who haven't turned into vampires gather everything they might need to survive. Which of these people is more likely to stay alive? All these supplies won't protect the guy on the right from vampires. As for the girl on the left, she's stocked up on what she can to defeat the vampires. She has a higher chance of survival. Let's check out the subway. There are two women here. Which of them is not pregnant? The girl on the left is not pregnant. Look, her belly is of a very strange shape. That's because she has hidden her survival supplies under her clothes. Vampires decided to throw a party. Who among those present is actually an undercover human? The guy on the left is a human. He's wearing makeup and false teeth. Nikki is also trying to survive. She packs her things and decided to move to a neighboring town. But suddenly, a vampire charged at her car. He damages the vehicle and takes away some supplies. Fortunately, he doesn't manage to bite Nikki. She escapes. Nikki has to stay home. The next day, a young man knocks on her door and asks for help. Is it okay to let him in? Nope. He has the same scar on his cheek like the vampire from the day before. Nikki continues to hide at home. One day, some girl starts knocking on her back door. Please help! A pack of vampires is chasing me! Nikki opens the door. The girl is out of breath, but she manages to say, They're almost here! Can I come in? Is it safe to let her in? No! This girl is a vampire. Anyone in this situation would immediately run inside the house, but vampires can't come in without an invitation. Nikki was checking her house and suddenly noticed that there was someone in the attic. She approached the shadows. It was a father and daughter. Please don't kick us out. Sorry, we snuck in without permission. We've been trying to hide from the vampires. The father said, Is it safe to let them stay? Yes, firstly, they're sitting in the sun, but their skin seems to be okay. Secondly, they managed to enter the house without an invitation. That means they're humans. Nikki let them stay. Let's take a little break. Time for some quick riddles. Think fast. A vampire lived in a one-story black cottage. He had a black cat, a black fish, a black computer, a black armchair, a black desk, and a black phone. Everything was black. What color was the staircase? There was no staircase in that house because it was a one-story cottage. 3 vampires are walking fast. The first vampire says, "2 other vampires are walking behind me." The second one says,
One vampire is walking behind me, and one is walking in front of me.
and the third one says, "2 vampires are walking in front of me, and 2 are walking behind me." How is that possible? These vampires are walking in circles. Humans, vampires, and werewolves gathered in one mansion. There are as many werewolves as there are vampires. There are as many vampires as there are humans. How many creatures are there if 3 of them are werewolves? There are 9 creatures in the mansion, 3 werewolves, 3 vampires, and 3 humans. Now let's go back to Nikki and her adventures. Nikki, Peter, and his daughter Becky decided to go to another town together. It takes 2 days to get there. They drove all day until night fell. Now they have 3 options. First, they can continue driving until the morning, despite the fact that they may meet a lot of vampires along the way. Second, they can spend the night in the nearest cave with bats. And third, they can sleep in the car. Which option would be the safest for them? Sleeping in the car is a bad idea. Vampires can sneak up on them in the middle of the night. A night in a cave is also a bad option. Vampires can hide among these bats. The safest option is to keep driving. Although they'll probably meet vampires, they have a chance to survive if they drive faster. They drove really fast and managed to reach the city by the morning. But when they got out of the car, they discovered they were surrounded by vampires. To escape, they need to choose one of 3 roads. On the first road, there's a pack of vampires. They're coming straight at the guys. There are wild hogs on the second road. The third road leads through a dark alley with hundreds of bats. Which of these 3 ways is the safest? The second way is the best option because the sun illuminates it, so vampires can't follow Nikki and her new friends. Plus, these dogs don't look too unfriendly. The guys reached 3 stores. Now they need to decide which of the stores is safe to enter. Nikki, Peter, and Becky look through the windows to see what's inside. The first store is empty, but it seems to be full of traps. The second store is full of survivors, but they look dangerous. And the third store seems empty as well, but it's completely dark there, and you can't see anything except for dozens of bats. Where should Nikki lead her friends? The first store is the safest. If Nikki, Peter, and Becky notice these traps, then the chances are high they'll be able to avoid them. It's worth a try. There's a man in the city who's trying to survive by hiding among vampires. Nikki spent a week photographing vampires to figure out who he was. Will you be able to see who is actually human in these photos? You can see this man has all 4 photos. In one of the photos, he's eating garlic bread, and in this one, his leg is exposed to the sun. He's only pretending to be a vampire. Nikki and the others decided to invite this man to join their group. The man was delighted and said that his name was Douglas. He was a journalist looking for safe places for people. He suggested creating a password that only humans could figure out. They came up with this one: HAWUH. Can you guess why? If you look at the reflection of this word in the mirror, you will see Huwan, or H-U-W-A-N. Flip the letter W and you get the word human. But only those who get reflected in the mirror will be able to solve this puzzle. Nikki and her friends settle down in this town. Can you guess which of these houses belongs to Nikki, in which Peter and Becky live, and in which Douglas has chosen? House number 1 belongs to Peter and Becky. There are 2 bicycles next to it. House number 2 belongs to the journalist. Do you see his equipment? And the remaining house, house number 3, belongs to Nikki.
Kim and Ashley are best friends. They decided to spend summer vacation in Italy together. They were very lucky to buy cheap plane tickets. Their flight was at 10 a.m. Unfortunately, when the girls arrived at the airport, they realized it was the wrong one. Now they have 2 options. Take a high-speed train for $100 to go to the right airport, or stay here and buy tickets for a later flight for $400. What should they choose? The second option. Look at the clock on the wall. It's 9:55 a.m. The boarding for their flight is already over. They won't make it even if they take the high-speed train. Kim and Ashley bought new tickets. They went to the airport restaurant to drink coffee. But one weird detail scared Kim away. She suggested they should leave that place as soon as possible. What did Kim see? This woman over there is a zombie. Wow, how did she get through security? When it was finally time to board the plane, it turned out there were no more economy class seats left. Kim and Ashley were offered to fly in business class. There, the girls saw 3 people. When the flight attendant served them fresh juice, she whispered that Kim and Ashley were extremely lucky. They were about to travel next to a famous Italian billionaire. Can you guess which of these passengers is the billionaire? This glamorous lady is a good candidate, but it's very unlikely a billionaire will wear a 100% polyester coat. This guy's business suit is very elegant, but look at his shoes. They seem quite cheap and worn out. This funny gentleman must be the real billionaire. Although his outfit is rather casual, his gold watch looks very expensive. The glamorous lady began to chat with Kim and Ashley. She told them she had recently visited an exotic island with her friends. Then she showed the girls some pictures. When the lady went to the bathroom, Ashley whispered to Kim, "This woman is a liar. She photoshopped this picture." How did Ashley know that? It's all about the shadows. They all look natural except for this one. The glamorous lady took a sip of her juice and started coughing. Suddenly, she fainted and fell into the billionaire's arms. He was ready to shout for help, but Kim stopped him, saying the woman was faking it. How did she know that? Look at the content of her bag. It's full of the billionaire's pictures and magazine articles. She also has a tattoo with his portrait on her leg. This woman is obsessed with him. It was lunchtime, and the billionaire offered Kim to play a game. There were 3 boxes. One of them contained a meal. There was a statement on each box, but only one of them was true. Can you help Kim figure out which box has food inside? If the food is in the first box, there are 2 true statements. And if the food is in the third box, there are also 2 true statements. But we need just 1 true statement. That's why the food can only be in the second box. Kim opened the box. She saw a delicious meal and a bank card. The billionaire said, "Congratulations, you've won $5 million. Enjoy your trip." Kim and Ashley landed in Rome and went to get their luggage. It turned out that Ashley had had the same suitcase as 2 other passengers, and they had a little quarrel. Can you help distribute the 3 suitcases among these people? The first suitcase belongs to this woman. It's covered in her dog's hair. The second suitcase has some traces of a star sticker. You've probably noticed it before on Ashley's bag. and the third suitcase belongs to this man. Since Kim and Ashley were now very rich, they decided to find a real estate agent who could help them rent a luxurious villa. They wanted to spend their vacation there. The agent showed them 3 houses. Can you help the girls choose the best one? There are cockroaches in the first house. They won't make very pleasant neighbors. The second house is too old. There's a crack in the wall which doesn't look safe. And the third house looks pretty good. As for the pool, it can be easily cleaned.
Yes!
Kim and Ashley left the villa and went sightseeing. When they returned, they found out that someone had stolen their passports from the safe. The girls called the police and they interrogated 3 suspects. The chef was too busy making dinner for Kim and Ashley. The cleaner was dealing with the pool all day, and the gardener said he had been outside planting flowers. He didn't notice anything suspicious. Who's lying? The gardener. If he planted the flowers, where are they? The police returned Kim and Ashley their passports and arrested the gardener. The next day, the girls went shopping. Sellers wanted to take advantage of rich and naive tourists and offered them overpriced souvenirs. Only one of these 3 items is a good deal.
Oh.
Can you guess which one? Take a look at this Venetian mask. It says "Made in China," which means that this mask can't be real. This magnet is of very low quality. The word Italy is spelled with an error. It simply can't cost $100. This blue cheese doesn't look fresh, but it's normal for this kind of product. This delicacy is the only thing that Kim and Ashley can buy here for a fair price.
Katie and John went on vacation together to an exotic location. In their first week, they booked a tour to the desert. But during the tour, the couple got lost. They were really thirsty, so they decided to go look for some water. Soon enough, the couple came across a huge oasis. But to reach the main waterfall where they could drink some water, they had to cross a bridge. But there were 3 bridges leading to the same place. The first bridge was high above the ground, and the ropes holding it looked as if they could rip at any second. The second bridge had some hungry-looking alligators crawling all over it. And the last bridge stretched over a lake full of poisonous water plants. Which bridge should they choose? The last one. The bridge stands high above the lake. Katie and Jake won't have to touch the water and the plants when crossing it. Luckily, they had radios with them, so they sent an SOS signal to their guide. The guide told them to sit tight. He promised the guys that a rescue team would be shortly on its way to help them. In a few hours, 3 rescue teams reached Katie and John. The guys got suspicious and asked the members of the team who had sent them. The first team said that they'd heard on the radio that a couple had gotten lost in the desert and had come to help them. The members of the second team explained that the hotel the guys were staying at had called the police for help. The last team said they'd received a radio signal saying the couple had been in distress. They immediately came to the rescue. Which team should the couple trust? The last team. John and Katie sent a message to their guide as soon as they got lost, remember? Back in the hotel room, John and Katie found out that someone had broken into their safe. The couple called the police and told the inspector that a few $100s and an expensive watch had been stolen from the safe. In less than a day, the inspector had 3 suspects. The first suspect was Bella, their tour guide. Bella said she'd been really worried about the couple's disappearance and hadn't left her room. The second suspect was Claudio, the hotel manager. He told the inspector that he hadn't even known that the couple had been missing. He was sure they'd been staying in their room this whole time. The last suspect was Bob from the rescue team. He told the inspector it wasn't him. It was the first time he had set foot in the hotel. Who is lying? Claudio. Look at his wrist. He's wearing a very expensive watch that looks exactly like the watch that was stolen. Plus, look at his pocket. He didn't do a good job at hiding the stash of money he'd stolen. After the crime was solved,
John and Katie decided it was time to head home. As soon as they arrived at their house, they tried to open the new suitcase they had bought during the trip. They tried several number combinations but couldn't figure out the code. Luckily, Katie remembered she had saved a note on her cell phone. This was the tip she wrote down. 682. One digit is right and in its place. 614. One digit is right but in the wrong place. 206. Two digits are right but both are in the wrong place. 768. All digits are wrong. 380. One digit is right but in the wrong place. Can you figure out what the 3-digit code to open their suitcase is? (042). The following weekend, Katie's friends invited her to a picnic in the forest. But when she arrived at the agreed place, she didn't see any of her girlfriends. Instead, she saw a large group of people standing in a wide clearing. Apparently, she had come to the wrong location, but right before she left, she noticed that 3 of these people weren't human. Can you spot them? Look at the way that girl over there blinks. This doesn't look normal, does it? And look at that granny's cane. It's part of her body, not a separate object. And that guy is charging his phone using a cable connected to his leg. Yikes! On a rainy Saturday night, John and Katie decided to stay in, order pizza, and watch the Riddle Channel on TV. On the screen, there were 2 women. The first one was stuck inside a cage hanging above the ocean, filled with sharks. The other woman was tied with a rope, hanging over a lake with piranhas. Both ropes were about to break. Who has the best chance of surviving? It's lady number 2. The first lady is stuck inside a cage, so she has no way to escape. If she falls into the water, she will most likely not survive. But lady number 2 has both her hands free, so she can try to climb the rope before it tears. The next morning, John went to work. As soon as he arrived at the office, he saw that his colleague Susan was very upset. She said that at one point she had gone to the bathroom, but when she came back, she discovered that someone had stolen her pearl earrings she had kept inside her drawer. John promptly undertook an investigation. The first suspect was Gertrude, a saleswoman. She said she was in a meeting with the CEO and nowhere near Susan's famous pearl earrings. The second suspect was Britt, an IT guy. He said he'd been fixing the company's software all morning. And lastly, John questioned Brian, the CEO, who said he had spent the morning at his daughter's ballet recital. Can you tell who's lying? It was Gertrude. Gertrude's account contradicts the CEO's statement. And plus, look at those pearl earrings she has in her desk drawer. They look somewhat familiar, no? John went back to his desk and started working. Later that evening, a massive power outage made all the lights in the building go out. John heard footsteps approaching him. The next thing he knew, he felt dizzy. He passed out and woke up in a tiny room with a metal door. John tried to open the door, but it was locked. He noticed that next to the door, there was a little device with a red sign that asked for a password. Below the device, there was a piece of paper with the following hint: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. John read the note aloud several times before he finally figured out what the password was. Can you guess what password he typed? He typed in 1 time the number 2, 3 times the number 4, 5 times the number 6, and 7 times the number 8. Phew, that wasn't very obvious, was it? One afternoon, John was walking down the street when he came across a dog. The dog had a collar with its name on it, and a part of its leash was still attached to the collar. It looked like the dog had just run away, so John picked it up and started searching for its owner. He walked into a pet store, and there were 3 people standing near the counter. John took a quick look around and knew immediately who the owner was. How did he figure it out? Look at the guy in the middle.
A ripped leash is hanging out of his pocket. He must be the dog's owner. On a beautiful morning, Katie and her friend went on a hike. At some point, they saw a river they needed to cross. Both of them needed to get to the other side. However, the boat could only make one trip back and forth and take one of them at a time. Still, both of them managed to get across the river. How? That's easy. They both went on a hike on the same day, but they weren't together, so they arrived at the river at the same time. But they were on the opposite banks, and after Katie arrived at the other side of the river, her friend managed to get to the opposite bank too.
You suddenly wake up trapped in a dark room. Your only source of light is a candle. There are 2 doors in front of you. Behind one of them, there's a tunnel that will lead you outside to freedom. Behind the other, just a cold brick wall. You have a key that will open only one of the doors, and you can try it just once. So how do you know which door to try? Hold the candle up to each keyhole. The flame will move near the door that leads outside. You escape to freedom, but you need to send some important documents to your friend Beth. You can't mail them in a regular package because the precious papers will get stolen. So you put them in a box and lock it. But Beth doesn't have the key to this lock. How can you send the papers if you can't send the key to the lock separately? First, send the locked box to Beth. She'll attach her own lock and send the box back to you. Then remove your own lock and send the package again. Beth can then remove her lock and finally open the package. Bad news. You get a call one morning from Beth. She says the crucial documents were stolen from her office. They'd been on the desk the evening before, but are nowhere to be found this morning. You immediately go there to question the employees. In no time, you gather 3 suspects. Sean said he had been at the movies last night. Michael had taken his girlfriend to an amusement park. And Christina was at a prestigious art gallery. Who's lying? Sean. His movie ticket isn't torn. Having been caught red-handed, Sean makes a break for it. He hops in his car and drives away. Law enforcement are on the lookout. Sean sees a police car right ahead of him and starts driving toward it. Why would he do that? He was on a bridge. He needed to go toward the patrol car to get to the other side and make his escape. No such luck for poor Sean. He gets caught and locked up. But he starts hearing rumors of an inmate planning to break out. The guards have 2 suspects. First, a quiet bookworm who spends most of his days with his nose buried in sci-fi novels. The second, a big burly tattooed guy who's always working out. Who should Sean become friends with if he wants to get out of here? The bookworm. Look closer, and you'll see his bookmark is actually a file. On Friday afternoon, the owner of that same prestigious art gallery discovered that 4 of the most famous artists' self-portraits had been stolen during an exhibition. The police show up to do an investigation, and now they have 3 suspects. Sarah, the artist, said she disappeared into one of the studios to paint. John, the security guard, explained he was just waiting outside and had no idea the portraits were gone. Daniel, the caterer, stated he was at a nearby store picking up extra napkins when the robbery took place. So, who's the thief? It's the security guard. He couldn't have known the stolen paintings were portraits if he was standing outside. As fate would have it, there was another incident that night. Michael, who never really liked what passed for art in modern times, rushed into the gallery and caused millions of dollars worth of damage to several paintings. Yet the gallery's owner thanked him for his actions. How come? Michael is a firefighter. The water from his hose damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire and save many more works. They awarded Michael a big check in gratitude. He heads home just in time to get his 5 kids all packed up for a camping trip that weekend. Mike and his wife are really looking forward to having the weekend for themselves to relax. But when they woke up on Saturday, they discovered the check was missing from their safe. Once the officers showed up, they interviewed the 3 people who were in the house that morning. The chef said he was in the kitchen getting school lunches packed. The cleaner said he finished cleaning quickly that day and left early. The butler had just gotten back after taking the kids to camp 3 hours away. Who's lying? It's the chef. It's Saturday, so there's no school, and the kids have gone camping. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, a scientist is working on something bizarre. He invites Kevin and Claire as blind test subjects for his new serum invention. He gives them each a glass of ice-cold lemonade. Kevin drinks his fast, but Claire apprehensively waits to see the side effects on him first. After 2 hours, nothing happens, so she drinks her glass. 2 minutes later, her skin turns green. If both the drinks had the serum, why was only Claire affected? The serum was in the ice. Since Kevin drank his fast, none of it got in the lemonade. Claire runs out of the lab in horror. She gets in her car and speeds off. As she's driving down a long, empty road, one of her tires pops off. Good thing she has a spare in the trunk. But here's the problem. She now has no lug nuts to put the spare on with. So what should Claire do? Unscrew one lug nut from each of the other 3 wheels and use them to attach the spare tire. It'll be enough to get to the nearest garage safely. As Claire is putting on her spare tire, the scientist catches up to her. He hands her 4 pills and tells her it's a complex cure to the green face serum. 2 of the pills are an antidote, and the other 2 are a catalyst that activates it. Claire must take 1 of each type together. If she takes 2 of the same, her face will stay green forever. Just as the scientist is handing her the pills, he trips and they get all mixed up. They look identical. What should Claire do? Grind the tablets up, mix all the powder together, and divide it in 2 parts. Each half will have the same amount of catalyst and antidote. It worked, and just in time. Whew! The next day, Claire has a big calculus exam. But funny enough, all the students in the class refuse to take it. Professor Miller can expel only 1 student for skipping the test. All of them know each other's names. If a student knows they'll be expelled, they agree to take the test. How can the professor make all the students take it? She should tell them she'll expel the student whose name comes first alphabetically. Then this person won't skip the test. The next person on the list won't skip either, and so on until the end of the list. Professor Miller grabs her cup of coffee, takes a sip, goes to set it down, and what's this? It's stuck to her hand. Somebody put glue on the cup, and she's got 3 suspects. Look carefully to find out which student is playing tricks on the professor. Sure, the first student has an awfully guilt-ridden look on his face, and the second student's smile looks just like pride for a job well done. But look closer at the third student's pocket. Yep, it's the tip of a glue bottle. Professor Miller is so annoyed by her class's shenanigans, she decides to change her career. Wow. She opens a shoe factory. She's so successful that she builds a second one in another city. But despite her success, the problems don't end. Her employees keep secretly taking shoes from the plant. What can she do to resolve the issue? Have one of her factories start making only left shoes and the other only right ones. One of those shoe swipers is driving a semi-truck full of shoes to sell for a profit. He comes to a tunnel and there's a major problem. His truck is just an inch too tall. But he can still drive through the tunnel. How? Let some of the air out of the tires. It'll lower the truck just enough. When the shoe swiper gets through the tunnel, he comes to a fork in the road. One goes to the town, the other to never-ending wilderness. There are guides standing at each. The catch? One always tells the truth, the other always lies. The driver doesn't know who's who, and he's only allowed one question. What should he ask to find out which road goes to town? Ask either one of the guides which road the other would say is the right way. Then he must choose the opposite. The truth teller knows the other will lie, so they'll point the driver toward the road to nowhere. If he asks the liar, they'll know the other guard would honestly point him toward the town, so they'll again recommend the road to nowhere. The shoe thief takes the road to town, but he has another puzzle to answer before he's allowed to enter. The guard at the gate asks him one simple question. What's the logic in the order of the following words? Fun, blue, bee, more, and dive. Every word rhymes with its number on the list. Fun 1, blue 2, bee 3, and so on. The shoe swiper finally settles down in this new town. Too bad for him, he can only use a payphone to make calls. One day, the phone breaks. He informs the phone company, but they do nothing. He tries again the next day. Same result. The third time, he finally gets them to come out and fix the phone. So, what did he say? He claimed that people were making calls without paying. Mrs. Cooper was going to the bank when she passed out. Cece was passing by when she noticed the woman on the ground. She called the ambulance and the police. Soon the woman came to her senses, but she found out that someone had stolen all her money. There were 3 suspects, Cece and 2 other pedestrians, Teo and Mason. Who is the thief? Look, there are 2 types of footsteps leading to the place where Mrs. Cooper is lying. One of them belongs to her, and the other was left by Cece. There are also 2 parallel straight lines, which must be the prints left by a wheelchair. So, the thief must be the man in the wheelchair, Mason. Mrs. Ford reported to the police that her neighbor, Anthony, had stolen her golden figurine. She said, "I was upstairs vacuum cleaning when I heard someone enter the house. I walked up to the window and saw my neighbor leaving the house a half-minute later. When I went downstairs, I saw that my golden figurine had been stolen." Anthony denied passing by Mrs. Ford's house that day. Who should the detective believe? He should believe Anthony. Vacuum cleaners are noisy, so Mrs. Ford couldn't possibly hear anyone enter her house. Cheryl was having a birthday party. She noticed that her brother was staying in his room with some girl, but she didn't know who it was. Cheryl got curious, so after they left, she sneaked into his room to look for some hints. There were 3 girls at the party: Jasmine, Willow, and Sylvia. Cheryl immediately guessed who her brother was dating. Can you figure it out? It's Sylvia. Look, there's a jacket in the room. Sylvia was wearing it at the party. Now I'll show you some pictures, and you'll need to understand what's wrong with them. Let's go. Here's the first one. The door hinges and the handle are on the same side of the door. Doors don't work this way. Here's another one. What's wrong here? The woman isn't wearing a necklace, but it's reflected in the mirror. And what about this one? Nine and 11 are messed up. It should be the other way around. This one should be easy, but keep your eyes wide open. Right, there's no red traffic light. Paris went on an expedition to a desert for a month. She didn't have a strong internet connection, so she couldn't talk to her boyfriend often. Still, one day, she managed to video call him. But that call didn't end well. The girl broke up with the guy. Why? Look at the background. It's nighttime for Paris's boyfriend, but he is obviously having dinner with some girl. There's a second plate and a glass with a lipstick print on it. Storm was walking with his friend in the park. Suddenly, it started raining, and they had to go home. Storm ran back as fast as he could because he didn't have a raincoat, an umbrella, or even a hood. Still, when he finally got home after running in the rain for 10 minutes, not a single hair on his head was wet. How is it possible? Storm was bald. In an alternate reality, Mrs. Savad was trying to persuade her daughter, Amy, to go to a party. Amy wanted to do her homework instead. Weird, huh? Mrs. Savad bought Amy an amazing dress, but the girl still refused. It continued until her mom promised that if Amy went to that party, she'd let her do her homework 16 hours a day every day for another month. Later, Mrs. Savad left for her own party. When she returned, she realized that Amy hadn't left the house. How did she know? There's still a price tag on the dress, which means that Amy didn't wear it. Violet had a genius but crazy sister who was always making traps in the basement. One day, Violet went downstairs to get her laundry. As soon as she walked in, the door got locked and wouldn't open. There were 3 buttons. Violet knew that one of them would open the door, but the other 2 would electrocute her. Luckily, her sister had mercy. There was a hint. Which of the buttons will let Violet get out of the basement? If you put the letters in the right order, you'll see purple button written there. That's the one. Mrs. West came to the police station asking to check on her husband. She said that he was in his office when she called him. Suddenly, she heard her husband fall to the floor, and about 10 seconds later, he hung up without saying anything. She called him again, then she came to his office, but he didn't open the door. The detective arrived at the office and found Mr. West unconscious. The detective was sure that the man wasn't alone in the room when it all happened. Why? Someone had to hang up the phone. If the man had suddenly fainted, the phone would have fallen on the floor. You work in a baggage storage room at the airport. 3 people come and give you their bags at the same time. Now, you don't remember who each bag belongs to. Take a look inside and try to figure it out. There's just one girl, so the bag with a dress inside probably belongs to her. The blind man doesn't need this mirror, which means that this bag must belong to the bald man. And the bald man doesn't need a hairbrush, so the third bag must belong to the blind man.
Sheila participates in a beauty pageant. The next catwalk will take place in 30 minutes. Sheila leaves her stuff in the dressing room and goes outside to talk on the phone. After that, she returns and sees that someone has torn her costume. Sheila gets furious and questions her rivals. Millie says, "I was getting my makeup done, so I sat in my chair motionless, and I couldn't look around." Chelsea says, "I was in a toilet. I think I ate something wrong for lunch." And Isabella says, "I was outside the dressing room filming stories for my subscribers." Who is lying? Millie. She said she got her makeup done, but why did she ruin it by putting on a face mask? Sheila goes to the storage room to find a new dress. Suddenly, the door slams shut behind her.
Oh no!
She needs to enter an 8-letter password to open the door. Sheila needs to be on the stage in 5 minutes. Can you help her crack the code? This picture on the wall is a hint. Sheila needs to enter paradise. Sheila opens the door and meets face to face with creepy rats. She runs away and gets lost in the basement. Sheila finds these 3 doors leading to the stage, but each door is hiding some danger. There are broken wires and a puddle of water on the floor behind the first door. There's a scorpion behind the second door waiting to bite Sheila. And there's a magical portal leading to the top of a mountain behind the third door. Can you help Sheila make the right choice? She should choose the first door. There's enough space. Sheila can crawl underneath the wires. Sheila enters the stage and spots 3 weird details in the auditorium. Can you see them too? Take a closer look at this lady. She's holding a book upside down. This musician is playing the violin without any strings. Also, there's a panda among the viewers. Sheila becomes a beauty queen. She gets a diamond tiara and a paycheck. She goes backstage, but suddenly, all lights in the building go out for a few seconds. When the lights turn on again,
Oh, no.
Sheila sees that someone has stolen her tiara. She questions 3 rivals. Zoe says, "I don't want your cheap tiara. My dad is a billionaire." Jasmine says, "Someone pushed me in the dark and scratched my dress." Rachel says, "You must have dropped it on the floor. Look better." Who stole the tiara? Zoe. It's hidden under her diamond necklace. The next day, Sheila wakes up in a creepy castle. A wicked witch turned her into a monkey. To break the black magic, Sheila needs to use a spell. But the spell book is locked in a box. The lock requires a 6-digit code. Can you help her open the box? There are exactly 6 candles on the shelf above the box. It's a hint. Each candle has a particular number of dots, so the code is 24361. There are 4 big houses in Sheila's neighborhood. All 4 are standing in one row, and they have different colors: red, green, white, and blue. Mrs. Jones's house is somewhere to the left of the green house. The third house in the row is white. Mrs. Snake owns a red house, and Mrs. Crystal doesn't live at either end of the row, but she lives somewhere to the right of the blue house. Meanwhile, Mrs. Dillon lives in the 4th house. And the first house isn't red. Can you decide who lives where and what the color of each person's house is? From the clues, we know that the first and the third houses can't be red. Mrs. Dillon lives in the fourth house. Therefore, Mrs. Snake, who owns the red house, can only live in the second. Since Mrs. Crystal doesn't live at either end, she must live in the third house, which is white. Mrs. Jones's house is somewhere to the left of the greenhouse, which means that Mrs. Dillon lives in the fourth house. As for Mrs. Jones, she lives in the first house, and it's blue. Can you spot a fake teacher? The guy on the left isn't a real teacher, he's an actor. Take a closer look. There's a rec camera icon at the top of the screen. Two friends want to cross a river. The only way to get to the other side is by boat. But this boat can only take one person at a time. The boat cannot return on its own, and there are no ropes or any other similar tricks. Yet both guys managed to cross the river using the boat. How is that possible? The guys started on the opposite banks of the river. Josh and Bob are twins. Josh lives with his wife, and Bob lives alone. Can you guess which one is Josh? It's the first guy. He has a pair of toothbrushes in his bathroom, while Bob only has one. A time traveler is attending this party. Can you spot this person? This lady's shoes look too old-fashioned. Chuck enters a spooky building where he's supposed to have a job interview. Suddenly, someone locks the door, and now Chuck is trapped. He wanders around for a while and sees these 4 doors. He also finds a note. Only door 3 is leading to the job interview. The remaining doors will take you to the black hole. Good luck. Can you help Chuck choose the right door? No need for luck, Chuck. The symbols on the door are actually numbers. So, Chuck should enter this door. I talk to you, you talk to me. Every day, you hold me. Yet, I can't smell you. What am I? I'm your mobile phone. A gentleman and a lady are talking. The person with black hair says, I'm a gentleman. The person with blonde hair says, I'm a lady. At least one of them lied. Can you guess the hair color of each person? If only one of them lied, they would both be gentlemen or both be ladies. Therefore, they both lied. It means that the lady has black hair and the gentleman is blonde. Can you spot what's wrong in this picture? There's no milk in the jug. Can you see anything odd in this picture? The image in the mirror is not reflected. Can you spot a vampire? This guy over here. Fiona is a young witch. She finds these 4 portals in a haunted castle. Fiona chooses one of the portals and enters. You can hear city noises from the first portal. You can hear sea waves from the second portal. You can hear leaves rustling from the third portal. And bells are ringing from the fourth. Which portal did Fiona enter? Fiona's dirty footprints on the floor are leading to the third portal. Don't mind the different sounds, this could just be a magic trick. Billy finds himself on the roof of a skyscraper that is about to crumble. The only way out is to use one of these 4 elevators. There's a werewolf hiding behind the first elevator. If Billy chooses the second elevator, he'll fall hundreds of feet. Super venomous snakes are crawling all over the third elevator, and mutated scorpions are waiting for Billy inside the fourth elevator. Just one bite will make him fall asleep forever. Which way should Billy choose? The first one. Take a look at the sky. The moon is not full, so the werewolf is harmless. Rachel meets 3 of her former school friends in the parking lot. All 3 want to impress Rachel, so they begin to discuss their new cars. Melanie says, "I wanted my car to be one of a kind, so I bought this one." Peter says, "Since I'm a beginner, I purchased the cheapest used car." And finally, Samantha says, "I bought a large car because I have a big family." Rachel spots a liar right away. What about you? It's Samantha. Her car key doesn't match the logo on the car.
Mrs. Riviera is a math teacher. She collected her students' homework, made them do a computer test, and started to grade the assignments during the class. She came across 2 very similar homework sheets and realized that one of the students copied the work of the other. Here are the students, Asher and Holden. Can you tell which one of them is the copycat? It's Asher. His hands are covered in fresh ink, which means he probably just did his homework right before the class. Mr. Reed came back home at night after another long shift. His wife was still up. He kissed her and went to bed. Mrs. Reed had been suspecting that her husband was cheating on her for a while already, and this time she wanted to know for sure. She decided to check his pockets. The next day, she told her husband that she knew he was cheating on her. Why? Look, there is a pair of keys in his pocket. His keys are hanging on the wall, so these are the keys from someone else's house. Ashley had a birthday party and she invited some friends over. Liliana didn't want to go, so she lied that her mom grounded her and made her clean the room. Ashley was sad but understanding about it. To make it up to her, the next day, Liliana invited Ashley to her house to study together and to watch a movie in the evening. Ashley agreed, but at Liliana's house, she understood that she had lied to her. How? Liliana's room is still messy. If she had cleaned it the previous day, it'd be neat. A famous rich writer was living alone in a mansion and never went outside. The only people she ever saw were her cook, her gardener, and a cleaning man. One morning, before breakfast, the cleaning man found her poisoned in her room and called the police. The 3 of them were suspects. The cook was watching a cooking blog on YouTube. The cleaning man said he just came to start the job when he found the lady. The gardener was in the garden planting some flowers. Who poisoned the lady? It must be the cook. It happened right before breakfast, but he wasn't cooking anything. He knew the breakfast wouldn't be needed that morning. It was summer break, and Ariana's friends invited her to go camping. Ariana wasn't really into camping, but didn't want to admit that she'd rather stay at home and watch TV. So she said that her parents invited her to go to Greece. In reality, she stayed at home and was binge-watching TV shows. Her family sent her a vacation photo. Ariana photoshopped herself there and sent it to her friends. When her friends saw the picture, they realized that Ariana wasn't in Greece. How? Ariana photoshopped herself, but her friends noticed that everyone in the picture except for her cast a shadow. Hallie works at a gas station in a city suburb. It was calm and quiet there. One day, she only had 3 customers. The first one got something to drink. The second one got some chocolate bars, and the third one just paid for gas. One of them was a criminal, and Hallie reported him to the police. Who was the criminal, and how did she understand it? The second man paid with a $25 bill. Such a bill doesn't exist, which means he'd been printing money. It was September 17th, and Annika was finally going to Spain for her vacation. She was living alone, so she sent all of her plants and her cat to her friend's house. On September 27th, she came back home. When she walked in, she realized that someone was in her house while she was away. How did Annika understand it? Annika lived alone, but look, there's a tear-off calendar hanging on the wall. When she left, it was September 17th, but now it shows September 27th. This story happened a couple of centuries ago. Henry and Caroline were dating, but their families were against it. One day, Caroline's family decided to take her away to another city, but they didn't tell her which one. Henry and Caroline knew it was one of the 2 big cities nearby, Paris, which was on the left, or Berlin on the right. They agreed that Caroline would throw her scarf away when the train took off, and Henry would find her wherever she was. So here's where Henry found the scarf. Which way did the train go? If you throw something from a moving train, it flies in the opposite direction. Henry found the scarf on the right part of the train station, which means the train headed left to Paris. Spoiler, a couple of months later he found Caroline there, and they lived happily ever after.
How fast will you find the answer to this riddle? It equals 4. Cat equals 6. Time equals 8. Hippo equals 10. Cheetah equals... The answer is 14. Each letter equals 2. Brenda was traveling by train. It was scorching hot in the carriage. The girl took off her gold bracelet decorated with diamonds and put it on the table in front of her. Several minutes later, the train entered a tunnel and it got pitch dark. When the tunnel was left behind, there was no bracelet on the table.
No.
Brenda was shocked. Someone's taken my bracelet! There were just 3 other people in the compartment. Helen said she'd been sleeping. Rachel was reading a book on her phone, and Gregory had gone to the bathroom even before the train entered the tunnel. Who took the bracelet? It was Helen. Before she had her sleeves rolled up, but now they cover her arms down to the wrists, hiding the bracelet. What usually happens with plants in math classrooms? They grow square roots. A man walked into a room and saw 3 doors. The first one had a sign which read, "To the swamps." On the second door, there was a note, "Lion's Den." The third door didn't have any sign, but the man knew for sure where it led. How? It was the door he had entered through. A baby giraffe doubled in height every month till it reached its dad's size. It took 10 months. How many months did it take the baby giraffe to grow half its current height? Nine months. Now, have a look at these 2 guys. What do you think? Who will not survive? Most likely the guy on the left. His slingshot sure can cause some harm to the guy on the right, but he'll definitely survive. But should he step off the wooden board, the other guy will immediately fall into an abyss. A rich man, Mr. Thomas Green, disappeared right from his home. The detective assigned to this case found a note at the crime scene. It read, 1st of January, 4th of October, 5th of March, 3rd of June. The detective guessed that the criminal's name was hidden in the note. The suspects were Jack Green, the rich man's son and heir, June Green, the man's wife, and John Jacobson, Mr. Green's employee. The detective deduced the name of the culprit in no time. Can you do the same? These dates supposedly stand for the letters you need in the words. For example, means the first letter of the word January, J, and so on. It turns out John Jacobson has something to do with Mr. Green's disappearance. Try to crack this one. Pote O. That's Pote 8 O's, which is potatoes. 1 end, 3 end, 5 end, 7 end. This rebus hides odds and ends. Knee-friended. What can it mean? It's a friend in need. A student put his final exam paper into the pile of other students' papers. The professor told him, "I saw you were cheating on the exam. You'll get an automatic fail." Strangely, the student just walked away. When the exam scores were announced, he found out he had an A. How come? The professor didn't know who the student was. That's why he graded his paper just like anyone else's. You're playing table tennis when your ball falls into a 1-foot deep narrow metal pipe sticking out of the concrete floor. How can you get the ball out of the pipe if all you have is your tennis paddle, a plastic bottle filled with water, and your shoelaces? Pour the water from your bottle into the hole and the ball will rise to the surface. You have an equation made of matchsticks. 6 plus 4 equals 4. Move just one matchstick to make it true. You need to take one matchstick from the plus sign and add it to the 6, so it makes 8. Then you'll have 8 minus 4 equals 4. Mrs. Collins went on a business trip and her daughter Ella stayed in the house alone. Of course, the girl wanted to invite some friends over. Her mother knew it was inevitable, so she permitted Ella to invite no more than 2 friends. Mrs. Collins also asked a neighbor to keep an eye on her daughter. Here's what the neighbor saw when she approached the house. Is Ella following her mother's instructions? There are 5 cars parked by the house. Assuming that one of them belongs to Ella, there are at least 4 more girls in the house, but possibly even more. In any case, Ella invited over way more people than she was allowed to. Jason received a letter from a girl wanting to ask him out. Unfortunately, the letter wasn't signed, so he didn't know who the girl was. He only knew that it must be someone from his class. Take a look around. Which girl sent him the note? The letter is written in purple ink. Look, that girl over there has a purple pen, so she must be the secret admirer. Detective Callum got a call from a local store selling branded shoes. A pair of their expensive high-heeled shoes appeared to have been stolen. Unfortunately, the cameras didn't work that day and the footage wasn't available. but there was a camera at the entrance taking photos of people walking in and walking out of the store. Who is the robber? It's this woman. Look, she's gotten taller on her way out, probably because she's wearing the shoes. A police officer was following a robber around the city. Suddenly, the robber entered the hospital and disappeared. When the police officer entered the building, there were 3 workers. One of them must be a robber who was pretending to be a patient. Can you identify this person? It definitely can't be this pregnant woman, and I doubt it's this old man. This man seems to be blind, but where is his stick then? I bet it's the robber who's wearing shades to pretend to be blind and draw away the police officer's suspicions. Take a look at these 3 people. One of them isn't a human, but who? It's this woman. Look, the hand behind her head is green. Avery was walking in a forest late at night. There was the full moon and she encountered 3 werewolves. Well, actually just 2, because one of them isn't a real werewolf. Which one? It's this one right here. Look, there's a zipper, so he's obviously wearing a costume. Okay, now take a look at this photo of people in a restaurant. One of them is a vampire hunter in disguise. If you were a vampire, who would you avoid at all costs? You'd have to avoid the place overall because it's the cook. Look, he's adding garlic to the dishes. Now let's check how attentive you are. Now I'll be showing you some photos and you have to find out what's wrong or odd about them. Here's the first one. What do you say? Look, the ghost is plugged into a socket. Here's another one, again with a ghost. Are you attentive enough to notice what's wrong with this one? This ghost casts a shadow. You're doing great. Here's the next one. Keep your eyes wide open. What do you see? This vampire is tanned. Those guys never see sunlight, so they're very pale. Okay, the next one is just as tricky. We're in a house of a vampire. Can you notice what's wrong here? Look at the picture in the background. The vampire is on it, but vampires can't be photographed. Paige wasn't doing well in school, so she was grounded for all the winter holidays and forced to study. Her father would work the night shifts, so quite often he wasn't at home for a long time, so Paige would often sneak out. She was very careful so it would go unnoticed. But one early morning, the father came back and realized that Paige had sneaked out at night for a party. How did he figure it out? Look, Paige's car is the only one in the neighborhood that's not snow-covered. It means that she's recently used it. Mrs. Jones grounded her teenagers for throwing a party in the house the previous weekend. They weren't allowed to go out for 2 weeks and were under strong supervision. On Saturday, Mrs. Jones left for an hour to go grocery shopping. When she returned, she figured out that someone had sneaked out for that hour. Evie said, "I was watching Netflix." Dale said, "I was texting with a friend." Kaya said, "I just finished taking a shower." Who sneaked out? Kaya. If she had really just taken a shower, the bathroom mirror would be misted. But look, it's all clear, so she got an additional week at home. The next Saturday was supposed to be the last Saturday when the teenagers were grounded, and Mrs. Jones went shopping again. When she returned, she noticed dirt on the carpet in the hallway, so she knew right away that one of the teenagers sneaked out again. Evie said, "I was just reading in my room." Dale said, "I was gaming." Kaya said, "I was watching TikTok right here on the couch." Who sneaked out this time? This time, it must have been Dale. He has wet hair, which could be weird, but it's not. It's raining outside. It means he was outside and not just sitting in front of the computer. The next Saturday, only Evie wasn't grounded anymore. In a parallel universe, it's only allowed to have fun and eat candy. No one ever works or studies. Mrs. Relham came back home after a long and fun night at a club. Her 3 daughters were supposed to have fun too. She asked them what they had been doing. Hannah said, "I went to a party with my friends in that new dress you got me." Elle said, "I organized a sleepover. We were binge-watching shows and eating." Ava said, "I was gaming all day with my friends online." Still, Mrs. Relham could tell that one of her daughters lied and actually spent all day studying. Who was it? It was Hannah. Look, her dress is perfectly clean and still has a price tag on it. It doesn't seem like she wore it. As you remember, Elle had a sleepover with her friends, so her room is a complete mess right now. Now, she's going to a beach with her friends. She needs her sunglasses, sunscreen, and her swimsuit. Can you help her find them in the room? Yes, here they all are. Great job. A day after the beach, Elle is heading to her classmate's place for a party. She needs her dress, her handbag, and her lipstick. Can you help her find them? The dress, the handbag, and the lipstick. Did you find them all? Hannah was getting ready to meet her best friend for a picnic and didn't find some of her stuff. She remembered that she had lent her shoes, her hairdryer, and her backpack to her sister, Ava. Ava's room was no less of a mess than Elle's. Can you help Hannah find her stuff there? Here they are. Did you find everything she needed? Ava is getting ready for her volleyball practice. She needs her volleyball, her sneakers, and her hoodie. Where are they? They're all here. Esme was having a walk in the forest, and guess what? She didn't get lost. Here was her way home, but she decided to go and visit a witch because she had a deal for her. "I have a riddle. If you don't solve it, I'm taking your cat." The witch agreed. "When does New Year's Day come before Christmas Day?" The witch kept the cat. What was her response? New Year's Day comes before Christmas Day, literally every year.